He waited years to say it. And when he finally did, it detonated across the NFL like a locker room grenade. Baker Mayfield didn't whisper. He didn't hint. He didn't play nice. He went straight for the throat, and somehow, Skip Bayless went even harder. Because this wasn't just about old wounds. This was about respect, betrayal, and a head coach who just landed one of the biggest jobs in football while ghosts from Cleveland came screaming back to life. Here's the value for you right now. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why Baker Mayfield's comment wasn't random. Why Skip Bayless calling Kevin Stefanski a smug fraud matters more than people think. And why the Atlanta Falcons may have just walked into a storm they don't see coming yet. And there's one detail from Baker's Browns exit that almost nobody talks about, but once you hear it, you won't look at this hire the same way again. It started with one sentence, one reply. One moment of honesty that Baker Mayfield clearly had bottled up for a long time. A reporter tried to frame Baker's Cleveland tenure as a failure. Baker didn't dodge it. He didn't spin it. He fired back. Failed is quite the reach, pal. Still waiting on a text or call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach. That wasn't a throwaway line. That wasn't trash talk for clicks. That was personal. And if you followed Baker Mayfield's career from day one, you know when he says something like that, it's because he's done protecting people who never protected him. Kevin Stefanski never responded. He didn't have to. Because Skip Bayless saw that comment and decided to do it for him in the most Skip Bayless way possible. Go, Baker, go. Call out Stefanski. Say you can't wait to see him twice next year. You made him. Then he predictably turned on you. He's a smug fraud, an awful hire for Atlanta. He fooled blank. He'll shoot blanks. That wasn't analysis. That was a public execution. And when Skip Bayless uses language like that, it tells you something. This wasn't just about Baker. This was about a long simmering belief that Kevin Stefanski's reputation has been built on something far shakier than wins and losses. Let's rewind, because to understand why this hit so hard, you have to go back to 2018. The Cleveland Browns were the punchline of the NFL. Then they drafted Baker Mayfield first overall. And overnight, the culture changed. Not slowly, instantly. Baker brought swagger to a franchise that had been allergic to it. He broke the rookie touchdown record. He talked trash. He embraced the chaos. And for the first time in years, Cleveland mattered. Then came Kevin Stefanski. In 2020, Stefanski arrived with a clean image, a calm demeanor, and a system that promised stability. And to be fair, it worked at first. Baker played the best football of his career. The Browns went to the playoffs. They beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. It was one of the most satisfying wins Cleveland had seen in decades. Stefanski won Coach of the Year. Baker looked like the future. But here's where the story cracks. Because that success came with an unspoken shift. The offense became more controlled, more conservative, less Baker. And when Baker got hurt, really hurt, the relationship started to rot. Baker played through pain that most quarterbacks would have shut down for. Torn labrum, broken bones. He stayed on the field because he believed that's what leaders do. And what did he get in return? Silence, no protection, no public support. And according to Baker, not even a phone call when the Browns decided they were done with him. Think about that. First overall pick. Playoff quarterback, face of the franchise, and he finds out he's gone like yesterday's trash. This is the part people skip. The Browns didn't just move on from Baker, they publicly chased Deshaun Watson while Baker was still on the roster. They undermined him. They embarrassed him. And Kevin Stefanski, the supposed culture builder, never stepped in to defend his quarterback. That's not a small thing. In NFL locker rooms, that's everything. So when Baker says he got shipped off like a piece of garbage, that's not hyperbole. That's how it felt. And it's why his career went into free fall. Carolina was a mess. Los Angeles was a short-term patch. People labeled him broken, finished, a bust who couldn't get out of his own way. But Baker didn't disappear. He waited. He learned. He humbled himself. And when Tampa Bay gave him a chance, he took it personally. Suddenly, the same quarterback people mocked was leading game-winning drives again, playing loose, playing free, leading. Meanwhile, Kevin Stefanski stayed in Cleveland, benefiting from one of the most talented rosters in football, and a fully guaranteed quarterback contract that changed the league. And even then, the Browns never quite became what they were supposed to be. Inconsistency, injuries, excuses. Fast forward to now. Atlanta hires Kevin Stefanski as their new head coach, and on paper, it looks safe. Offensive-minded, experienced, calm. But here's the curiosity gap. Why did this hire immediately trigger such a violent reaction from Baker Mayfield and Skip Bayless? Because people who've been inside that building know something the outside world doesn't. Stefanski's strength is structure. His weakness is people. He's not a rah-rah leader. He's not a protector. He's a system guy. And when things go wrong, quarterbacks take the fall. Baker was the first example. And if Skip Bayless is right, Atlanta just bought the image without understanding the cost. Arthur Blank wanted stability. He wanted credibility. But what he may have gotten is a coach who looks great when things are smooth and disappears when they're not. And Baker Mayfield can't wait to see him twice a year. That's not just trash talk. That's motivation. Now think about this. Baker is in the NFC South. Stefanski is now in the NFC South. That means this isn't hypothetical. This is coming. 2 times a year. Baker versus the coach who never called him. The quarterback who was labeled the problem versus the man who quietly let him become the scapegoat. And here's the wild part. Baker's career arc now looks eerily similar to another quarterback who got discarded too early, written off, mocked, then reborn when the pressure disappeared. Baker doesn't need Stefanski's approval anymore. He's already rebuilt himself without it. Skip Bayless didn't just pick a side. He exposed a fracture in how the NFL talks about leadership. Wins get credit, losses get blamed. But how you treat players when things go bad tells the real story. And Baker just reminded everyone of that. So here's the question you need to sit with. If Baker Mayfield was good enough to win a playoff game in Cleveland, tough enough to play through injury, and strong enough to resurrect his career, was he ever really the problem? Or did Kevin Stefanski just know how to survive the fallout better than Baker did? Because Atlanta is about to find out who Kevin Stefanski really is when things stop going according to plan. And Baker Mayfield already knows. Before you comment, think carefully. Was Baker Mayfield right to finally call out Kevin Stefanski? Or did Atlanta just make the safest mistake in the NFL? Let me know exactly where you stand. And here's where this story gets even more uncomfortable for people who still want to pretend this is just sour grapes from Baker Mayfield. Because when you look around the league, Baker isn't the only quarterback who's quietly hinted at this exact same issue. Coaches who preach culture when things are good often reveal their real character when the quarterback position becomes inconvenient. Think about how quickly narratives change in the NFL. One season, you're the coach of the year. The next, you're quietly distancing yourself from the same quarterback who helped you win that award. Stefanski never publicly threw Baker under the bus, but he never stepped in front of it either. And in this league, silence is often louder than criticism. Players notice, agents notice, front offices notice. That's why Baker's comment landed the way it did. It wasn't reckless, it wasn't emotional, it was delayed, calculated. And that's what should worry Atlanta fans. Baker didn't say this when he was unemployed. He didn't say this when his career was spiraling. He said it now when he's stable, respected again, and no longer needs anyone's approval. Skip Bayless calling Stefanski a smug fraud might sound extreme, but Skip has always been obsessed with one thing above all else: quarterback belief. He believes quarterbacks succeed when they're trusted and collapse when they're managed instead of led. And in his eyes, Stefanski managed Baker until Baker broke. Then he moved on. Clean hands. Clean reputation. Atlanta is betting that Stefanski's system will elevate whoever lines up under center. But systems don't respond to adversity. People do, when injuries pile up, when the locker room fractures, when the quarterback takes heat from the media. That's when head coaches earn their money. And that's exactly when Baker felt abandoned. Now picture the scene. Baker Mayfield walks into Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Same swagger, same edge, same memory of being discarded without a phone call. Across the field stands Kevin Stefanski, now selling a new culture, a fresh start, a clean slate. And Baker doesn't need to say a word, because the football will do it for him. This isn't revenge fantasy. This is accountability finally catching up to perception. Stefanski has spent years being labeled safe, smart, professional. Baker was labeled volatile, immature, difficult. Yet only one of them publicly acknowledged the relationship breaking down. Only one of them admitted it hurt. And fans always say they want authenticity, until a player actually gives it to them. Baker Mayfield did. He told the truth as he lived it. And Skip Bayless amplified it because deep down, it confirms what a lot of people in NFL circles quietly believe: that Kevin Stefanski's success has always been more fragile than advertised. So as this next chapter begins, remember this moment. Remember that one tweet. Remember that one sentence about being shipped off like garbage. Because when these two cross paths again, it won't just be another divisional game. It'll be a referendum on leadership, loyalty, and who really deserved the blame all along. And when that happens, there won't be any hiding behind press conferences or coach speak. The scoreboard won't care.